Okay, good evening. Who have we got? Zira, Glenn, Quentin, and Muliani. Excellent. Can you guys hear me? Just give me a wave or say hi or something. Glenn saying, oh, okay, yep, can hear me. Excellent, excellent. I think we should let the ladies go first tonight. So if that's okay with you boys, all good. Nasira, say hello. We're all waiting for you, darling. Huh? Say hi, ask a question, give us a wave. We can't see your video, and there you are. Good evening. We're waiting for you to ask a question, doll. And we can't hear you. You may have to unmute yourself on the screen. There should be a little button.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, now we've got you.
Sorry?
Okay. Now we've got you. We can hear you.
Yeah, I can't, but I can very faintly hear you. I am in the car, so I do apologize.
Oh, okay. You don't have like headphones or something?
No, I don't. Actually,
Yeah.
they're in the office, to be honest.
Yeah,
Let me
speaker
just
on the
check.
iPhone is
Sometimes I
generally
carry
not
spare
very
ones.
good.
I thought I
Okay.
could hook it up through the car speakers, but that's not working.
Oh, right. Yeah, it might not work with Bluetooth because it's not actually a phone call. So that's all right. We can hear you and you'll be able to access the recording for later on.
But
after
I thought even because Audible works through Bluetooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us what you've been up to in the crypto world.
I'm about to start driving again.
Yeah. What have you been up to in the crypto world? What have you been buying? What have you been looking at? What would you like to know more about?
I've only bought a little in probably what's a Ponzi scheme, but oh well. That's it at the moment. I'm looking at hoping to buy more Bitcoin and looking at other currencies and finding out more about other currencies. But at this stage, like I haven't done anything more than just that other thing that I put in.
Yeah. So do you mind telling us what that one was?
That was a BTC Global.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't come across that one yet.
Yeah, you put in $1,000 US, and they pay you 2% interest every day. So that's 14% every week. You can either have that compounding or you can have that paid at the end of every week into your account.
Yeah.
Back into your CoinJar account. And then you can convert that back into your bank account. Yeah. Commonwealth, whatever it is, and then you can get the funds out of that. So far it's fine. I don't have to refer anyone in order to get that 14%. Like it's really up to you whether that's what you want to do or not. And I haven't referred anyone, and I still get that. So yeah,
that's
it's not one of those you have to refer to get that 14%, which I think makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah. There was a couple of those in operation. We dealt with those on the first call, BitConnect and UCTech, which recently got kicked out of Canada and the US, and it was a big recruitment thing. And whilst I was very wary, saying, you know, MLM's all good for selling washing powder and skin lotions and vitamins and that sort of stuff, but really they shouldn't be selling money. But a couple of people on the call disagree with me and said, look, if it wasn't for those, I would never have found out about Bitcoin. I went, okay.
Well, that's the other thing, you know. And I actually know people because I went to Tony Robbins last year, and I know people from my Tony Robbins group who actually managed to clear their debt with UCI technology, and now they're debt free. So, you know, for some it worked, and I'm hoping after they got debt free, they took it out on time. I haven't caught up with them yet, but for others, unfortunately, I know some did lose quite a bit that from the articles that I read, not anybody that I knew personally. But yeah, I guess for me, I only put in what I can afford to lose, or I don't care losing. Do you know what I mean? Okay,
Well, the
very
pyramid
loosely
schemes
sense
worked
of the
out very
word.
well for the pharaoh. It just didn't work for everybody else. So if you're one of the
Yes.
first people in and you recruited 10,000 people under you, then happy days for you. But obviously, you can stand to lose a lot of friends out of something like
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah, for sure, which is why I'm not into referring, because I'm like, if you want, you do your own research, you do your own stuff, and it's all on you at the end of the day. You know, I
Yeah.
can point you in the direction of like either joining groups like this or, you know, other things on Facebook and stuff like that, and you do your own research, but don't take my advice on that kind of stuff. Like, because I'm not taking anybody else's, I'm doing it on my own as well, in that, you know,
Yeah.
I understand I'm going in and there's a high risk, like everything in life, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
good to hear. Self-education in this area is absolute key.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I've said that for many years in financial planning. People just come in and say, "Oh, I'll just throw my money into something." Like, you want to understand how it works and
Exactly.
find out a little bit about it, because a lot of people got interested in the stock market through their managed funds or through their superannuation.
Mm.
That's how they first found out. So if you join a little club or something like that and they're doing it for you for a start, that's okay,
Yes.
as long as you understand how it works. So
Yep.
I've been teaching people how the crypto works and how this sort of stuff works,
Oh,
and
cool.
people appreciate that.
Yes.
And we're all learning together, because this is a very new field.
Exactly.
And I've learned a lot from just coordinating this group. But then some people have come to me and say, "Okay, I understand how it works now, but I want someone else to do it for me because I
Well,
don't
see,
have
that's
time
the
to do
other
it
thing
myself."
I have. That's the problem
Mm,
I have. I don't have time while I'm at work to constantly be looking at the graphs and, you know, being on Insta and everything else. That's pretty much what I feel is required with something like this, which can be a bit volatile at the moment.
yeah.
And I don't have that energy. Well, I don't have that time at this stage to
Mm,
be doing what other people do and constantly being on those things to look at it. So yeah, and that's probably why I only have gone to BTC Global, because I've put it in and I don't need to watch it. I know it's
yeah.
just coming in and whatever.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, there's some people who bought Bitcoin for 25,000, a few weeks ago, and then because of the news in India, which
Yes.
was fake news that spread throughout the media and that
Yep.
sort of stuff, it's gone down like ten
It's
thousand
not
dollars,
10. Yeah.
$9,000.
Is it 10
Um,
or is it 6 now?
I think it went down to like 8,000 US, but it was up over 10,300 when I looked at it this morning.
Yeah.
Um, So, but that's if you just sort of buy and hold, and you know that Bitcoin's still going to be around in 5 years' time, it doesn't matter. If you're
Well,
holding
that's all
text,
I want to do, to be honest. I just
mm,
want to buy, hold. I know this isn't going anywhere for a while. I know it's probably not going anywhere ever.
yeah,
I do think it's here to stay. Um, so yeah, mine is just to invest correctly now, hold, and in 10 years' time, have a look at it, see what my gold mine's like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you say, it's very new, it's very volatile, and I think a couple of calls ago, I compared it to if you put $1,000 into Facebook and $1,000 into MySpace 10 years ago,
Yeah,
well, the money in MySpace is gone. It's totally gone.
exactly.
But you've made so much money on Facebook that you
Facebook,
don't care about the money that you lost. So
exactly.
it's a good idea to diversify and learning about some of the other coins. So you can make notes, or you'll have the recording of this call and you'll see what
Yeah,
some other people are into. And
yeah,
also you can look on the Cryllionaire website and just say, okay, I'm cool with this, I'm happy with this. Some people don't like to invest into companies that do alcohol, tobacco, firearms,
yes,
gambling, prostitution, whatever it happens to be, because there's horses for courses.
exactly.
And some people like to invest in ethical, sustainable things and
Yeah,
environmentally friendly things. That's okay too. Just have a look at, because there's a huge selection. There's thousands of coins available. I've probably looked at profiling maybe only about 30 or 40 out of 2,000. And
wow.
obviously we're learning in the group. Other people are teaching me things as well, because it's a
Yeah,
big area to keep an eye on. But whatever you feel aligned with, if you want to say, okay, look, I'm really into this, sustainable energy or save the wombats or whatever your coin does,
yeah,
and you know that you can sit on it for the next 20 years, and that's okay. It might
yeah.
not shoot the lights out, but if you feel good about it, then that's the
Yeah,
main thing.
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, this BTC Global, I think I don't know if it's a South African company or whether the guy is South African. I'm just not sure. But I know when they do their figures, and they do keep you up to date with the figures and everything, like they seem to be pretty transparent. I'm on their they've got an official group page on Telegram, and we've got everyone who's invested in, I think, Australia or wherever, all over the world, I think. Or maybe it's only in Australia. We're all on a group in Telegram. And on their actual official page group, they're pretty transparent with the graphs and with how much they're paying out, and people who do have people under them, their commissions and stuff like that. But when they quote it, it's in rands. So that's why I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, you can also back check that, you know, depending on how technical you are. If someone's been paid their commission, if someone's been paid their commission by the company, then you've got like their account number, their Bitcoin number, and then you can search, because, you know, the blockchain is totally transparent. Once you've got their account number, you can actually look for all of their transactions. You can't see their balance, obviously. You can't see how much money they're making, but you can see how much they're spending. And if they're saying, yeah, we just paid out $10,000 in commissions, you can actually look on the blockchain and see whether they did or whether they didn't. And this is where one of those other ones, one of those other ones fell foul of a few people, because they said, oh, look, you know, we've paid out so much in commission, and someone went, hang on, you haven't. It's on the blockchain. You know, you can't forge that stuff. And they pretended they were mining 5% of all the Bitcoin, and they were actually only mining 0.6% or something like that. So, there are a few scammers out there. The good thing is the scammers get found out very, very quickly, because there's a huge community, and it's like on the internet. So you don't have to wait for the police to come. You just tell a friend who tells a friend who tells a friend.
Exactly.
And everybody knows.
Well, so, I'd be interested for you to show me how to do that.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, but we'll look at that for later on. So, have you got any questions of the group so far, or we have a chat with Glenn?
Are you asking me, Jeremy?
Yeah.
I'd love to know what everybody else is, and I'm sorry if this question's already been asked in previous meetings. This one's my first one, so I'd love to know what everybody else is putting their money in, how they're feeling about Bitcoin, and just the whole the crypto world, and what have they found that's working for them. I know it might not necessarily work for me. Like, I use Coinbase. I still haven't verified my stuff on there, but I want to know how to avoid having so many wallets. You know, because some people are like, nah, we don't take anything, you got to be this. So I'd like to know what everybody else is using, what's reputable, because I do want to invest a bit more later on, and that investment, I want it to be like 110% secure as possible. You know, so well, that's what I'd like to
lived through the GFC, so you know that nothing's 110% secure. You know that there was banks who went down after 167 years, but we can do our best. So Glenn's been writing down all your questions. I can actually see him there. He's writing down what you've been asking. So he's going to answer those as soon as he's finished his mouthful of popcorn.
Thanks, Glenn. I am going to have to start driving, though, so I don't know if this is going to cut off when I start driving. If you can
mute yourself, or I'll do that so we don't pick up on the engine noise, and then you can just listen without.
That'd be great.
Beautiful. Okay, so you carry along. We'll keep smiling and waving to you, and Glenn's going to answer your questions. And if you can't hear him because of the engine, then you'll get the recording.
Hello, Jeremy.
Good, mate. Good. How are you doing?
To be honest, a little bit confused.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, as Nasira said, like, if it wasn't for some of these MLMs, we wouldn't know about Bitcoin. So I have invested a little bit in USI.
Yep.
I only put 500 in. So obviously put in, something I'm prepared to lose if all else fails.
$500, not 500,000.
No, $500.
Thank you. I don't know if you're a big player. I just put in 500. I can afford to lose that, whatever.
So what I've done is I've turned off my auto rebuy. So what I've been doing is, at the moment in my payout, I've got $164. I've got 0.1632 Bitcoin sitting there. And obviously, depending on the fluctuation, depending how much that equals.
Yeah.
But what my plan is to just let that keep building, And at certain points take that out and use that to reinvest back into other coins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not investing any more in there. What's in there is still building, obviously still accumulating. And then through Coinbase, I purchased $100 of ETH and $25 of LTC.
Okay.
As it dipped last week.
Nice work.
Yeah, so not a huge lot. So what I'm a bit confused about is which wallet do we use? Transferring it to an offline secure wallet. Like people talk about Trezors and the other, whatever they are, the other names.
Yeah.
And then like, who do we buy? Sometimes I like, who do we buy through? Like, which wallet do we buy through, etc.
Okay. Some good questions, mate. Some good questions. And I think, it's good that, I mean, with Yuzi and the other one, which, what they call BitConnect, when they sell packages, and they call them packages and they don't call them investments, and you don't really know how many coins that you've got or what coins you've got, there is the possibility that, that could disappear, or you're really not learning that much. Whereas, if you take your $100 and you buy Ethereum or you buy Litecoin or whatever, at least you know what you've got. And then when they talk on the news about, Bitcoin's done this or Litecoin's done that, you've got an idea, and oh, I saw it just went down because of the Indian Prime Minister said this, or it just went up because the Chinese people did that, or whatever. You can actually start to see the news, and you can start to realize what's happening and why it's happening. So for the first month or two, it might be retrospective, because we've seen Bitcoin went down because of what happened in China, and Bitcoin went down because of what happened in India. But then you'll actually once you start to see the patterns, then you'll know about it before it happens. So that's good. I mean, as far as the wallets, and Nasira asked this as well, I've got, I think, 6 or 7 wallets now. Probably more. And this is because with the deregulation, the lack of regulation, there's no one saying what exchange that they have to sell on or what wallet they have to use. So, I think I first got in with CoPay, which is just a Bitcoin wallet, because Bitcoin was the only thing around back then. And then after a while, I got into Coinbase. And then Coinbase only has the 4 coins on it. You got Litecoin, you got Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, and whatever the other one is.
Bitcoin Cash and BTC.
Yeah. So then if you wanted to buy IOTA or something else, or, Monero or Power Ledger, then you've got to jump onto another exchange, and you go, oh, I've got to jump on another exchange. And then when you buy that coin's not compatible with this particular wallet. So you go, oh, I've got to open another wallet now because I've now got that coin. So I actually created a spreadsheet last week, which has got, I think, hang on, let me just have a look here. Not that one. Window, where's the window button? There it is. Okay, so my wallets is CoPay, Coinbase, Blockchain, IAM Token, Trust, and the exchanges, some of those are exchanges, CoinSpot, Waves, Spectra Coin, and Cryptonomous. And that's because the coins I wanted to buy were listed on those exchanges and only on those exchanges. Or, in order to buy this one, like to buy Iungo, I could buy Iungo direct from the people. I couldn't buy it on an exchange because it wasn't listed. It was a pre-ICO. Then in order to have it show up, I actually had to have the iDo wallet, because the iDo wallet would show up there as the token, whereas the other one, Coinbase and CoinSpot and these other ones, it wouldn't show up in there. So I've created an Excel spreadsheet, and for those who have known me for a long time, it's weird. I've been financial planning for 25 years. I hate Excel spreadsheets. I really do. Like, I pay people to make Excel spreadsheets. So Muliani's having a giggle there because she knows that she creates all the Excel spreadsheets and she puts them into Dropbox or Google Drive for me. So it took me about 4 hours the other day to actually copy and paste all this information and make it look Thanks, Quentin. To make it look sort of decent, but to give me an idea, because previously I'd open up my wallet or my exchange, I'd write down the figure on a bit of paper, and then I'd add up the bits of paper. So now I've actually got it in one central spot. So you can be proud of me, Muliani. I've actually managed to do that. It can be hard to track because, like in Australia, we have the Australian Stock Exchange, the ASX, and there's the Newcastle Stock Exchange, the NSX. And 95% of the shares that you will buy or that you'll see talked about are listed on the ASX. It's only very rarely that you have to go to the NSX. Of course, in America, they've got the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ and the whatever. Their system's a bit more confusing, but their market is about 10 times the size of what the Australian market is. So this is what's happening in here. I mean, at the moment, there's a lot of exchanges, there's a lot of wallets. Maybe over time, we will actually see that consolidate. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of banks in America up until 1920. And then one started to buy the other one, started to buy the other one. We've seen that even in Australia with Westpac buying St. George and a few other, like I think Bank of Western Australia is owned by Commonwealth Bank, and National Bank owns something else. Bank of Melbourne was also bought by Westpac. So maybe we'll see that consolidate over time as the market becomes more mature, and I'm kind of hoping that'll happen because it can be difficult to track where your money is and what's going on with it unless you've got Muliani who looks after your stuff, or unless you've got a really good spreadsheet.
Yeah, because like I was looking at IOTA and Monero. Like I wanted to invest a little bit into those, but then I wasn't sure which wallet to use or what exchange to go through. Like I've got the Binance app.
Yes,
and
yes.
Obviously you can find them on there.
Yep.
But then I wasn't sure like how to buy it. I got a bit confused.
Yeah. I was running Binance for a while. And there's so much information on Binance. It's got the tickers and the codes and the lines and the 30-day moving average and that sort of stuff. Like if you're a day trader, Binance is the site to be on. But not only was it really, really confusing, it also was very slow to load because it's got so much information. Whereas if you jump onto CoinSpot, it's just got, you want to buy this, this is what it is. You want to buy this, this is what it is. So I actually ripped a lot of my stuff straight off of Binance and put it onto CoinSpot. And you can just transfer, you don't need to sell it. You can just transfer the IOTA or the Power Ledger onto the other exchange. So that's a pretty simple.
Okay, because I've got CoinSpot.
Yeah.
Because that's where I put everything through when I went through into USI.
Right, CoinSpot, not Coinbase, because there's CoinSpot, there's Coinbase, there's CoinJar.
Yeah, no, CoinSpot.
Yeah.
CoinSpot, because I've got Coinbase as well. That's where I've got my ETH and LTC. Yeah. So can you transfer between wallets?
Yes, transfer between wallets and between exchanges. So for me, being in Australia, jumping onto CoinSpot or SpectraCoin or Cryptonymous, in order to satisfy their things, I've got to have my driver's license, I've got to have my passport, I've got to have a selfie of me with my driver's license holding it up to my face, then I've got to sign a form, and then it takes 14 days, and like, screw that, right? I want to buy my stuff now because I see, the price is moving the way I want it to be, up or down. So I found it easiest to get verified on CoinSpot, like within 1 day. Some of these sites are taking 2-3 weeks. So I would turn the Australian dollar into Bitcoin on CoinSpot, bang, instantly off my credit card. Then I transfer the Bitcoin from from Coinbase onto whatever other exchange I wanted to be on, whether it's SpectraCoin or Cryptonymous. Because even though you're not verified, you don't need to be verified to put cash in or to take cash out. But if it's a transfer of crypto, they don't care. So I'm still waiting to be verified on Binance. It's been weeks and weeks. They've never verified me, but I was able to transfer Bitcoin onto there and then use the Bitcoin to buy Power Ledger and IOTA and Monero, and then I could transfer them from there onto another exchange. So that's the simple workaround that I've found.
Yeah, I mean, I've been verified in Coinbase and CoinSpot. I didn't have, I was one of the lucky ones. It just went through smoothly. Nothing, no hiccups. It just happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that's good. But yeah, I just got a bit confused of like, where's the best place to buy those? Yeah, because obviously having, you know, if you're getting most through one wallet, it's obviously easier to manage.
Yeah. But then, as I say, like some coins aren't available on some wallets or some exchanges, and you know, I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. I haven't been keeping a record of how many coins are on each one, but just anecdotally, I think, you know, in the last few months, it seems like CoinSpot has got a lot more coins on it than what it used to. And that's just from my own observation. Like when you pull up the list, it looks like it's a lot bigger. So hopefully there's going to be some consolidation. And yeah, Quentin's saying there's 80 on there now. And I swear there was probably only about 30 when I first got on there.
Yeah, and with the ICOs, like I clicked on a couple, but like they had a minimum like $2,500 US to get into the ICO.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I don't have that much. I don't have that much to invest right now, so I can't get into that ICO.
Yeah.
Are most of the ICOs like that?
Not the ones. I don't know which ones you've been looking at. Obviously, you know, you've been on the movers and shakers sites where they just drop, 500,000, I can afford to lose that. But some of the ones I've been looking at, and some of the ones that are profiled on the Cryllionaire site, they had a minimum of like $100, $200, up to $500 that you could put into.
Okay. Yep.
And some of these, like there's some that have come out and doing the same job. Like Iungo is doing the same job as Hashnet. They're basically saying, you know, we don't need the internet. Everybody's just got a smartphone and we can send a signal from your phone to my phone to your phone to, you know, everybody who walks within 500 meters of you. So if the government shuts down the internet tomorrow, we can still actually run this thing and not only transfer ideas, but also transferring money. So they're using the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi that's available in your phone to make another internet, basically.
Okay. Yep.
And like there's two companies who are doing the same thing, and I think it might be this Facebook MySpace thing. Like who's going to win? I don't know, but I can put $150 into that company, $250 into that company, and then just let them fight it out. You know, so there are some small minimums. I haven't seen one that's under $100 yet.
No, I mean 100 for me is like fine. That's
yeah
kind of like benchmark for me. Like if it was an ICO, I don't think it'd be much point putting $50 or $25 in.
Yeah. I mean, some of these are like they might sound interesting, but you're not 100% sure. Like I put $112 into one, and you know, a few weeks later it was worth $230. I go, well, if I had known that, you know, I would have borrowed $500,000 from you and whacked it. But you didn't know, you know, so you just throw a couple of $100 in there and see what happens.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is the time to read up on them, and then when I go to read up on them, I'm still very small on the knowledge about it. And so even though I'm reading it, I don't really know what I'm reading. I don't really know how to translate the white paper as okay, I'm reading this, but is this good? Is this not good? Like, is there things that we need to look for or look out for?
Yep, absolutely. The thing to look out for, mate, is if you can't understand the white paper, then get the hell out of there.
Okay.
If they're using language and jargon that the average bloke doesn't understand, then I don't know. I'm not sure whether they're trying to scam you or whether they're just really bad at communication and whether they're really bad at marketing. So there's some brilliant guys out there, absolutely brilliant guys who are doing amazing things with technology. But if they haven't got someone on board who can communicate that to the average Joe on the street, then they're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah. And then I heard of another one that they brought the white paper out. So people read through it and invested, and then they went and changed the white paper.
Yeah. That can happen. And it will upset a lot of people, obviously. And they're basically shooting themselves in the foot. So, you know, if you change the direction of the company and people don't like the way the company's going, they're going to be out of there. You know, like I bought shares in, I don't even know what it was, the company who makes Forex, right? Can't remember. Lion Nathan, I think it was. They don't just make Forex, they make a whole bunch of ciders and little alcohols and things like that. I don't drink, but I know a lot of people who enjoy a drink. And so next time I see them out Friday night and they're posting their selfies of them at the pub, I'm going to sit back and go, wow, my shares have just gone up, right? But if these guys came out and suddenly found religion and went, hey, you know what, we're actually going to start investing into, you know, building materials for the homeless and protecting people and not alcohol anymore, then I might be happy, but all of the other investors would not be happy, and they're going to sell their shares.
Yeah.
So yeah, companies can upset people. That's what happens. What was one that I invested into way back in the day? It was Australia's first legal brothel. And that was down in Melbourne, and it was like you bought shares in the company and you owned the company, and you know, I haven't been to a brothel, other people have, that's okay, none of my business, whatever you do behind closed doors, it's all legal, whatever. And I think it was about a year later, they actually decided that they were going to sell the business and buy the premises. And they were basically a real estate investment then. And a lot of people went, okay, well, if we wanted to invest in real estate, we would have invested into XYZ shopping centre or so-and-so building contracts. And
Yep.
people started selling the shares and just going, we're not happy. You know, we wanted to make money out of other people's sexual habits rather than just
Nice.
rent. You know, like on rent, you're going to make 6%, right? I don't know what the profit margin is for a brothel, but maybe you would have been making 20 or 30%, which is, you know, what some other companies would make in normal business. So people got upset, people sold out, and the company went downhill. So yeah,
Yeah.
if the white paper gets changed, then it's got to be changed for the better. Otherwise, expect people to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so the only other one was like, yeah, really was the offline wallet. Like, do we need to get one and shift our stuff across so it's more secure?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, probably a question for someone, you know, who's got $500,000 sitting in there. Then you would be really scared about security, because, you know, these digital assets sitting on your computer. So if someone hacks your computer, they can take your money. Now, what Nasira said before is, you know, only invest what you're prepared to lose. If it was my life savings, and if it was, you know, like I would mortgage the house to put my money in there, then I'd probably be a little bit paranoid. But I'm leaving, some of mine are in wallets, some of mine are on exchanges, and they're saying, oh, never leave it on exchanges, because exchanges are the first ones to get hacked. Well,
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense, because there's thousands of people on the exchange. There's hundreds of billions of dollars at the exchange. It's like a bank. And if a criminal's going to rob someone, he's going to rob the bank. He's not going to go and rob, you know, 25 individual people or thousands of individual people. But I'm also expecting that the exchange knows that. The exchange knows that the bigger the exchange, the bigger the target they are for the hackers. So they're going to have security up the wazoo. So I'm not really panicked about it. You know, that's just me. As I say, if I had millions of dollars in there, I probably would be, you know, doing my trades on the exchange, transferring to the wallet, and then transferring to an offline thing and putting it on a little USB and making sure that I have another computer that's never ever connected to the internet, so no one can hack it. You know, whatever. If you break into my house, you'll find all my security keys and things written down in my notepad.
Yeah,
But
same.
I'm
Same,
just a
yeah.
small guy, so would you actually run the risk of 20 years in prison just to steal my money? You know,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I'm not panicked about that. But ask me again in 3 years' time, once I've made hundreds of millions of dollars out of crypto, and then I'll probably be investing in these super secure cold storage wallets and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah, well, that was pretty much all my questions, concerns.
Okay.
And then I've just got to create a little bit more time to investigate and read and find the new ICOs coming through.
You've been on the Cryllionaire website.
Yes.
Yeah. So the blog post that the guys asked me to write last week, we talked about, I think, on the first or second call, but I hadn't actually put it down in writing. So that's COIN process. If you check that out, that will help you a lot when you're picking your coins. Okay. So read that.
Yeah, I wrote that because I went over all the old videos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here it is. I got it right here. So, yeah.
Yep. So again, if there was one that went broke. I was reading about the other day. They took 42 million. So it's either a lot of people with, you know, $500 here and there, or some really big players who were in there.
Yep.
This guy got away with 42 million, but he'd set up this website and he used real pictures of real people that he'd taken off of LinkedIn, but then he just made up fake names, made up fake bios, and, you know, some sort of thing that, oh, that's right, they were going to decentralized fruit and vegetable distribution and get the blockchain. The blockchain was going to label your tomatoes and your zucchinis. Now, that sounds a little bit funny to you and me, right? We're having a giggle, but some people actually believed it. So the CEOs and stuff were made up. They weren't verifiable. You clicked on the link to LinkedIn and it wasn't actually the same guy that it said there. The operation was, I don't know, like how are you going to make the blockchain label your fruits and vegetables? Like that's a job for people or robots. I don't know. So it failed. It failed the first 2 steps of the test. You wouldn't even bother spending the next 20 minutes going through the next steps. Why would you? It's failed the first 2.
Cool.
So,
yeah, well, I've got that written down right here, the 4-step process.
Yeah.
With coin. So. Yeah.
And as I say, like, you know, whatever product someone is selling, they should be able to explain it to you in layman's terms. Okay. I was chatting with a client earlier today, and you know, he was saying, oh, I need to understand the ins and outs of this. I need to understand this. And I don't understand the internal combustion engine, but I'm happy to buy a car. I'm happy to drive a car. Sometimes you just got to go, I know enough to get me by. I don't need to know what the programmers know, what the technicians know, what the engineers know. I don't need to know how the blockchain works in order to trust that it does work, you know? So maybe if you set yourself a time limit, say, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on each coin and know as much as you can in 10 minutes. Otherwise, you might spend 2 hours on one guy's website and then go, you know what, I don't want to buy that coin. And then you move on to the next one. And it's easy to waste a day. And you look at 4 coins and you go, okay, well, there's 4 coins that I don't want. That just leaves me with 1,900 that I might. But if you set yourself a time limit and go, I'm going to know enough information to get me by, that'll do.
Yeah,
so,
awesome.
Very cool. Now, speaking of guys who have got Trezor wallets and you know, encrypted software and millions of dollars, Quentin, what have you been up to?
Not millions of dollars. But I have put, while the bloodbath has been on, I've been putting together my spreadsheet. I sent you a copy.
Yeah.
I'll put the link in the thing if that's all right.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is basically all the coins on CoinSpot. And I've done that coin thing on them. So I've got it here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it when I show it. Can you see it?
I'm just opening it up now.
No, but I mean, I'm putting
running video on
the,
oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
So there they all are.
Aren't you clever? You can share your screen and all. God.
Yeah. So basically, if we look at, say, you know, any of them, ARC, say, I've gone through, I've got the coin name, I've got the ICO name. And then this was the price on the 29th of the 1st.
Yep.
This is the overall high. And then that's the difference. So then I make it into a percentage.
Yep.
So you can basically take this spreadsheet then and use the data to change it. So you could just look at which ones are getting the highest percentage changes over the last, however they've been in existence.
Wow.
Then the next one is what we call the Gecko, which is on coingecko.com, I think.
Yes,
and the overall rating for ARC is 56%. And that's a mixture of the liquidity, the developer, and the community. So that's your coin, what is it, operations?
Yep.
So that basically gives you the average percentage. And this one shows that the developers spending 54% of the time developing their coin. Whereas if you look at Ardor, they're not spending any time developing it. And then this is the community of Telegraph and all those sort of things. They go through and work it out.
Yeah.
And then I have my holdings. So if I own $250, if I've invested $100 in Bitcoin and it's now 250, it tells me what my profit is.
Yep.
I've got the start date when that coin started. I've got the availability and the supply. So there's, on that OX, there's 503 million coins available and the supply is 1 billion. There's the CEO and founder. Later on, I actually started putting in the link because quite a lot of them have lots of different people involved. So
yeah.
that goes around. Then this is the website for each coin, and then just their description. So I got all that together while all this up and downing is happening, just to keep me occupied.
Wow.
So you can download that off that link if you want, and use that if you're looking at any coins that are there that you like.
That's amazing. Who's impressed with that?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I love spreadsheets, as I said.
That's
Because
brilliant.
I can manipulate the data and see if there's any sort of trends. Like I noticed the top 30 coins that are doing well all have quite a high gecko. So they're up in the 60s, 70s and 80s of that average. And also I noticed that some of the ones that have very high spreads don't do as well as some of the ones that have the narrower spread. So it's good using that information to be able to see trends and stuff.
Yeah.
So download that spreadsheet and have fun with it. The ones I've bought, because most of my money's now free because I did really well in November and December. And I took all that out, so I'm playing with free money, so I'm a little bit more aggressive. So I bought Dragon, which is the Disney one.
Yes.
What else did I buy? XRB, just because it came on. I didn't really, and it had good stats. And EMC squared. So those are the three I bought.
Okay.
But these are ones I'm sort of. They didn't have great stats, but lots of people are saying good things about them. So.
Yeah, well, the network is important as well.
Yeah,
sometimes you've got something, as you said, there's one there that, the developers spent no time on it, and some of them got no asset backing, and they've got no product, but everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And
that's the things I'm looking for. I'm not going really deep into it. Just looking at the CoinGecko, because that basically gives me the stats for the coins, every coin. I can look at it in Aussie dollars or South African rand, whatever you like. And then it sort of has the graphs and everything there. And then I usually go to their website and just look at their website. I don't tend to read the white papers much because I'm not much of a reader. If it was an audio, I'd listen to it.
Well, they usually have like a 90-second video. Most of the coins, if you go to their website, they've got a 90-second video.
So I'll watch the video and just read the stuff and look at the people like you said. And then I'll go into Telegraph or Facebook or somewhere like that and see if I can see if there are any comments about it. So.
Yeah. If they can't explain the idea in a 90-second video with a little animated character, then I'm not interested. I'll always watch the video, and if I'm fascinated by the video, then I'll read the white paper.
That's right.
But the video is a good sort of executive summary of, is the white paper actually going to be any good? Because some of these things, like there's some amazing like artificial intelligence and all sorts of bloody stuff that I can't really fathom. Some amazing projects, but they've got to be able to communicate it. Like, what does this do for me? Does it help me save on my electricity bill? Does it make my tomatoes grow bigger? Or, what's it do for me at the end of the day? It might be fantastic technology. Laser beams are great, but what's one done for me lately? I don't know.
So I put in the share link, and then if anybody gets on, they can add information to it. So I've shared it. So it's on Google Drive. So if you find out some dates when they were made, or you want to add other coins to them for the group, then it'll be a great resource for everybody to just get that information.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Quentin. I'm going to send you a prize. You just send me an email of your postal address. It's going to be a physical thing. It's not just a digital. I'm not going to send you a Bitcoin.
Well, I've got a Bitcoin to send you, actually.
Yeah, you said that a few weeks ago. I was wanting to see what.
I bought them from China because when I got out of my company last year, I sent them little presents.
Yeah.
I had a few left. So. But they're fun leaving on your desk.
Okay.
People
you send me. You email me your postal address, and I'll send you mine as well, so we can swap a couple of little prezzies there. But really appreciate your work. I mean, that spreadsheet, I'm not sure how long it took you, but for me that would be like probably a 60, 80-hour project.
Yeah, that's about how long it was. But I'm semi-retired, so I didn't like looking at my coin thing very much, so it's going up and down too much at the moment, and not up enough. So I thought I'd do a project and not look at it for a while.
Wow. So there you go, Glenn. I mean, that's taken care of all of your questions. And the series seems
coin spot. So
yeah, it's brilliant.
I've tried all the other ones, but I find them really complicated for my old brain.
There's too much information.
Yeah, everybody says I'm silly because of the fees and everything, but I really don't care about fees if I'm making money. It's like tax. You know?
Keep it simple.
That's right.
Yeah,
I made money off them and drew it out, so I'm happy.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Quinton.
That's right.
Love it. Fantastic. So I did mention in the email this morning. We've had a brief update. Well, I'm guessing people understand the news from China and the news from India. If you didn't see that, China has been selling out because of Chinese New Year. That's been affecting the market for the last couple of weeks. The big hit that we had the other day was the Indian Prime Minister came out and made a statement. He was concerned about people using cryptocurrency for illegal things, you know, drugs and guns and that sort of stuff. I can't remember the exact words that he used, you know, word for word, but it was basically something along the lines of, we're looking to ban cryptocurrency use for criminals who are using it for nefarious purposes. And it was reported in the paper that the Prime Minister came out and said, we're looking to ban cryptocurrency use. They completely lost the end of his sentence. And so that was the news that was reported in the paper. And of course, everybody in India went, oh my God, the Prime Minister is going to ban cryptocurrency. So everybody started selling out of Bitcoin. And that news was picked up by other newspapers and circulated right around the country. So when you've got 1.2 billion people who are hearing that Bitcoin is going to be banned, obviously that's going to start a bit of an avalanche. And it's only when other people went back to the source that found out that, you know, that was not a lie, but a bit of an urban legend that sort of got carried away. So we're starting to see support again in the last 24 hours, which is good. And hopefully no other things going crazy. But, you know, this is what happens in a market that's not regulated. You know, if those sort of myths and things started circulating in the stock exchange and the stock exchange dropped by more than 5 or 10%, they'd actually cease trading. They just say, okay, cut it off. We're going to go back and find out where this story came from, and the market's closed until tomorrow. Or sometimes they'll cease trading in a particular stock. If some stock's gone up by 20% and nobody knows why because the company hasn't made an announcement, they will cease trading on that one until they find out. Likewise, if it's gone down. In an unregulated environment, we don't have those securities. We don't have someone stepping in when trading goes too high or too low. The flip side of that is you can also make 600% profit in a single day, so or more. So you got to take the good with the bad on that one. So it's good to get your news from multiple sources. Don't just believe what's coming out of, you know, CNN or NBC or India Today or China Daily or wherever. Check a few other sources because we are in a world market. It's not just the Australian stock market or the American stock market anymore. I also said I'm going to reveal what I've been holding at the moment. Just sitting on these ones.
Question, Jeremy?
Yeah, mate, sure.
Like today, they were saying the stock market plunged 23 billion or something dollars in Australia and heaps in America. Does that have any effect on cryptos?
It depends, because when the money leaves the stock market, it's going somewhere. Like when those people sold out of those shares, they're putting it into property, or they're putting it into business, or they're paying off their debt, or maybe they're funneling it into crypto. So whenever there's a market going down, like in Australia, we basically have the stock market and the property market. And that's what we've had for 200 years. When the stock market goes down, the property market goes up, and vice versa. In the US, they don't have the property market as such. They have the stock market and the bond market. And that's what they've had for the last 200 years. And now we've got a crypto that's sort of come in. And sometimes they go, oh my God, 23 billion was wiped off the stock market. And you go, wow, that sounds like a lot of money. Because if you're carrying that around your back pocket, that's a lot of money. But when you look at the market cap of the total stock market and you take 23 billion, you go, well, that's 1%. It's down 1%. Who cares? It'll be back up 2% tomorrow. But they needed to put something in the last 30 seconds of the news report. They needed to put something on the back page of the paper. So they just, worked it out.
Understand.
Yeah. It's not really a big deal unless they can actually report and say, hey, the stock market fell by 20%. That's a big deal.
Right.
23 billion or 53 trillion is kind of meaningless until you know what the actual size of the market is.
Right. So the good traders won't care, and all of us go, oh, just like they do for crypto.
Yeah. I could say I broke into Glenn's house and I stole 1/1000th of his assets. Like, he's not going to care.
Yeah.
I might have stole 5 cents. I might have stole one of his old Archie comics or something like that. But if it's 1/1000th of whatever he had, like, who cares?
Who cares?
So, yeah, you need to take that into the whole context of what's the actual size of the market.
Right. Okay.
So, and I'm not sure what the size of that market is. So, if you can find out, you let us know and take it into account. Okay, so what am I holding at the moment? A very tiny bit of Bitcoin. I got frustrated with the speeds of transfer of Bitcoin a couple of weeks ago because I was transferring money to people overseas and it was going very, very slowly, sometimes taking up to 6 hours for a transfer. There is the Lightning protocol coming in soon because Bitcoin is open source. Anybody can work on it. So there are some developers working on the Lightning protocol. Bitcoin at the moment can do about 7 transactions a second. Ethereum and Ripple and some of the other ones can do thousands of transactions a second. And IOTA is virtually unlimited. So that's why I got frustrated with Bitcoin and sold out of that one, just coincidentally before it crashed down. But the Lightning protocol is apparently going to make Bitcoin so much faster, and there's some guys working on that at the moment. So that's going to be happening even as Bitcoin's very cheap at the moment. It's going to get more expensive because with the new Lightning protocol, obviously it's going to go faster. It's like when they bring out new software updates for your phone, which is supposed to make it faster. Not in Apple's case. Also holding a fair bit of Ethereum at the moment, some Ripple, some Ethereum Classic, Crypterium, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago on a call. They're building a bridge in between the Ethereum network and the Bitcoin network, so that those two blockchains can actually talk to each other. Lambden, I believe, is involved in the same project. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Quentin. Well, the same project, but coming at it from a different angle. So they're both in the same market, trying to build a bridge between these two networks, the Bitcoin network and the Ethereum network, which are operating wonderfully well, but just don't actually communicate with each other. Okay, a couple of minutes left. What have I got here? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Iungo, which I spoke about earlier. Power Ledger, which I've spoken about on a couple of previous calls, selling your electricity to each other. IOTA, which is basically having no miners. Monero, which is the secret squirrel one. It's profiled on the Cryllionaire website. Waves, which I haven't spoken about before. Waves actually enables you to launch your own coin on their platform. It's a bit simpler than the Ethereum platform. So if you've got an idea for a great technology, you can jump onto Waves and you can actually launch your own coin. You've just got to buy some of their coins first before you launch those, which is why the market for Waves will continually be high, in my opinion, because people have got to buy that. Bankera is another one that I've bought, and they're similar to Ripple. They're actually aligned with a few major banks. So for people who are not necessarily diving headfirst into crypto, some of the more conservative people or the older generation who still want to be aligned with a major bank, then Bankera is one of those ones similar to Ripple where you can actually have an account that's aligned with the bank. And they do actually pay interest, which is interesting because they send a little, it's not much, it's probably not as high as these guys who are promising 1% and 2% a day, but they do pay interest on their assets. The last one that I'm holding is Rentberry. And I talked about that again a couple of calls ago, where they're looking at basically streamlining the way that you go and rent a house. So at the moment you go and rent a house and you might have to fill in paperwork and wait 3 weeks or a week or something like that. Whereas you can get an Airbnb place like that because it's powered by the internet. They can check your social media profiles, they can check your ratings from other people and your feedback. So Rentberry is basically looking at bringing that speed of use to the rental market. So I believe it's really, really going to shake things up, and possibly even property managers are going to be out of a job, because this thing's actually, you know, automated, can check all your credentials and do things so much more quickly. So Quentin, thank you. Have to go. What else did I promise this week? Making money while coins are going down, very quickly, because I do want to finish on time out of respect for you guys' time and the ones who are watching this. Making money while coins are going down. So obviously, you know, as Bitcoin's gone down from 25,000 a few weeks ago to 8 or 9,000, people are actually selling their Bitcoin. Yep, that's what makes the price go down. If you're mining, then you can actually be making money, because to sell their Bitcoin, they've got to process a transaction. That money's got to go somewhere. So if you've got a mining rig set up at home, then you're actually making money whilst this is going on and people are transferring their Bitcoin or out of Bitcoin into cash. The other way, of course, is arbitrage, because the news broke first in India that, oh my God, the Prime Minister's cancelling, you know, outlawing crypto. So the Indian people started selling off first. I don't know what time it is in India right now, but there would have been other exchanges that were open, but maybe no one was awake in Korea. Maybe no one was awake in England at the time. So you can find out that, you know, the Bitcoin might have been going down in price on one exchange and moving up on the other. And that's a chance for you to buy low and sell high just by flipping it from one exchange to the other. That's a couple of little quick tips there. We've got about 3 minutes left. What did I also want to say? Your coffees that you've been buying for us, I'm not sure if you've realized that, but when you buy coffee for me, I actually buy a drink of water for a kid in Africa. If you've been doing that, then I've probably tagged you on Facebook. You'll be aware of that. If you're not aware of that, it's a great idea to jump in and do that. The coffee thing, Glenn, should be in the email. He says hopefully, otherwise check the bottom of the Cryllionaire website. It's got a PayPal link, and there's also a Bitcoin link, depending on whether you want to pay in cash or whether you want to pay in crypto. And that's what I've been doing these calls for the last few weeks, is just like $5, buy me a coffee, and we supply water to the kids in Africa, and we keep doing the calls and helping everybody out.
Sweet, I'll get you a couple of coffees this week.
Thank you very much. Okay, and lastly, we're the coin that I've launched on, which is currently on Waves. I'm looking at Ethereum just for scalability, and also at the hash graph, which is the one where you can actually have no mining fees. It just transfers because you've got to process other people's. The Boston coin, there's a link on the Cryllionaire website, and we've appointed a few people to the board, to the management team this week, and looking at doing some exciting things there. Basically, it operates like an exchange traded fund or a managed fund or a mutual fund, for those of you who are familiar with that. Again, like your superannuation, this is how you first learned about the stock market. You can throw a couple of $1,000 in there, and we'll split it up amongst the top 200 coins and the top 200 tech stocks. Because again, we don't know whether Bitcoin's still going to be around in 10 years, or whether Ethereum's going to beat Bitcoin for #1 spot, or whether Litecoin's going to be the #1. But at the end of the day, if you diversify it amongst the top 10 or the top 50, then you're going to be in a much better position. And also owning shares in the companies that are underlying it, because all of these coin companies relying on miners, relying on transactions, relying on storage. So they've got to have hard drives, they've got to have graphics cards, they've got to have power, that sort of stuff. So by investing into the underlying hardware that supports all of these coins, doesn't matter which coin comes out on top, we're going to make sure we're still making a profit. So that's the Boston coin. You can read about that on the Boston website. You can read about that on the Cryllionaire website. There's a link there. And it's also being updated on LinkedIn at the moment. So that's it. And I think we've managed to finish with 1 minute to spare. So thank you very much. Thank you, JT, for phoning in earlier and saying that you weren't going to be here, but you're going to be watching the recording. And for those other people, thank you very much. We will see you same time next week. Cheers.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.